Nagi had been fumbling the bag hard when Manshine City played against Bastard Munchin, even though he scored a goal. But this is not the end, as he will come back stronger than ever in the U20 arc, as Nagi will unlock a hybrid form of his former and present self to become Isagi's worthy challenger once again. If we want to know how Nagi will achieve that, we have to peel back layers of his character that will expose the things he needs to go to that next level. Throughout Blue Lock, Nagi has shown two sides of his character, with one being his passive state and the other being his active state. Passive Nagi is very unmotivated about everything and doesn't want to put effort into anything. He basically just goes along with Ryo, as he's the only friend he had cause of his introverted nature. But more than anything, Ryo was the only person who understood Nagi and let Nagi be who he was. Nagi didn't even want to go to the Blue Lock facility, but got dragged in by Ryo. Little did he know that the decision to go along with the Blue Lock program that Ego Jinpachi carefully set up the course of his life was about to change. When his Team V played against Isagi's Team Z, he sparked something in Nagi that he hasn't experienced before, which is the feeling of losing. The pivotal moment of change was in Chapter 32, as Ryo was in a pinch with Team Z under full control of the field. After seeing Ryo struggle, Nagi had enough of it, as he asked Ryo to pass the ball to him. He proceeded to dribble past everyone and get the ball from Zantetsu, as he felt curiosity for the first time as well, which was Nagiseishiro's first awakening. Now we've talked about the two sides of Nagi. It's crucial to know when they are active. The answer of that lies in his eyes. When Nagi isn't excited, his eyes are black. And when he's excited, his eyes either have color or some kind of glow, like all the egoists that go into the flow state have. This means that even after Nagi evolved, he still goes back to his old self from time to time. The best example of Nagi going back to his old self are whenever Ryo is mentioned, like in Chapter 49. This exchange is very important for the rest of this theory, so pay close attention. After Isagi's team with Nagi in it lost against Itoshi Rin's team, Isagi went into a frenzy as he stated that he couldn't do anything against the top 3 strikers of Blue Lock. However, Nagi insisted that it wasn't like that since Isagi scored a goal against them as well. But Isagi didn't count that as much of a contribution because the entire team was working together to score it, while the top 3 used their individualism to score goals. Nagi proceeded to tell Isagi that it's what football is all about. Isagi didn't like that either, though, as once their teamwork got interrupted, he didn't stand a chance on his own. He couldn't produce a chemical reaction like Nagi and Bachira were able to do, which is all that mattered to him in the end, and if they were to lose again, Nagi would certainly be the one that gets stolen, because he was simply better than him at that point of the story. However, Nagi stood up and told him to shut his mouth, as he didn't know what he should be doing with Isagi when he's acting like an idiot. This moment is incredibly important, as you can see that Nagi is being extremely active, which is the character he's supposed to be after he awakened. He told Isagi that he teamed up with him because he thought that he'd get stronger if they played together, but if he's going to wuss out, it would be a problem for him, as he told Isagi to get it together. Isagi keeps whining though, as he doesn't want Nagi to make it all his fault. But then Nagi proceeds to state that Ryo wouldn't whine in a time like that. Isagi gets even more mad now as he tells Nagi to just team up with Ryo and to stop comparing Isagi against Nagi's ideals. Nagi proceeds to tell Isagi that he can't help it, as he only played football with him before. Isagi gets mad after that, as he tells Nagi that he's putting the blame on him now and that he can't do anything without Ryo, which was kind of true, but also not in many ways. Now notice how Nagi suddenly becomes more defensive as soon as Ryo is mentioned. This is the Nagi from before he faced off against Isagi. And what makes this even worse is the fact that Nagi tries to defend himself by stating that Isagi couldn't do anything without Bachira, which he knew is true. The point is that Nagi can change between his present and former self on command, depending on the circumstances, which shows cracks in his egocentrism and his character in general. Now, in order to know how Nagi is going to get to the next level, we have to know how and why Nagi failed in the Neo-Egoist League, even though he scored an amazing goal in their game against Bastard Munchin. Nagi was motivated by defeating Isagi ever since parting ways with him when Rin chose Isagi to come along with him, as he was the only one who gave Rin a run for his money. Being motivated by defeating another player isn't inherently bad, though, as we've seen plenty of characters do the same thing as we're seeing with Isagi and Rin. The problem comes when you don't think far beyond that. Isagi always sets himself new goals when beating his previous objectives and keeps striving for the top, even in the toughest times. But in Chapter 191, after Nagi beat Isagi in that play, Isagi asked him how he reached this point, as he wanted to know his current state of mind. Nagi told Isagi that he's been playing football just to beat him, and Ryo helped him to achieve his goals at the end. It felt good for him that this dream came true, as he felt like he had become the protagonist of this planet. However, Isagi proceeds to state something very intelligent, as he told them that success is worthless if it's not reproducible, as he told him that he's going to crush him in this match, which is exactly what he proceeded to do. The two of them wouldn't have any more miracles in this match. The problem with his goal not being reproducible is that he actually beat Isagi only for a moment, just like that match against Rin in the second selection, which means that Nagi hasn't truly beat Isagi. At this point in the story, Isagi is way further ahead than Nagi anyways. The problems don't stop there though, as Nagi wondered what's next for him, which is exactly the problem. His short-sightedness is the exact thing that led to his inevitable downfall, as he completely lost his ego and drive. And to put even more salt into the wound, Nagi proceeded to perform even worse in their next match against Ubers, as they lost 3-1, which is embarrassing, although I got to say that Ubers is a powerhouse of a team which left Nagi devastated. And to put even more salt into the wound, Agi proceeded to tell them that they wouldn't be able to level up anymore if they kept going like this. The next match would be their final chance before they would both become insignificant randoms, as he urged Nagi and Ryo to break their partnership. He proceeded to say that they're too codependent of each other, and that if they genuinely wish to become stronger, to grow and evolve into a world-class player. Sometimes it's necessary to have the guts to cast aside those precious to you, which is exactly what he did at the start of the second selection when he had the spark. In short, the reasons he failed as a player are because he lost his spark because of thinking that he had achieved his goal, and his reliance on Ryo to make plays, as this is the exact thing Isagi was struggling with in the second selection. Only now the roles are reversed in Isagi's favor. He knows his qualities and limitations, and also knows how to use the egoists around him to evolve into more of a versatile powerhouse. Now we've got all of that out of the way, it's time to talk about the way Nagi will reach the next level. And the funny thing is that it's been right under our noses all this time, as the answers can be found in Manshine City, their match against Bastard Munchin. In Chapter 178, Manshine City was on the attack, as Ryo passed the ball to Nagi. As the ball was flying towards him, he used a body block to hold the Bastard Munchin players at bay. He trapped the ball as he suddenly tapped it outward, creating his zero reset turn. He ran forward and was dribbling all by himself as he tried to think about the situation. 1 to the right, 2 to the left, 26 yards to the goal, and only one ally, which is completely different from the Nagi that scored a goal later on, relying on Ryo to create his plays, which is why I said that both of his modes can be interchangeable with each other, depending on the circumstances. Isagi catched on to this, as well as he realized that Nagi was strategizing all by himself, as it was the debut of the new Nagiseishiro. He wanted to show them that football can start with him, and he even said that things that are a pain are very important to his improvement as a player. The reason he did this is shown in Chapter 179, after Chris Prince was looking into his data. He noticed that Nagi has gotten almost no points in creativity, which was probably because he's been focused on receiving passes up until that point, and during the games he's just been making incredible reactions on a moment-to-moment basis. To put it in a different way, it's pure dependence, which is a passive style of football that's influenced by their partner's quality, which means that if his partner doesn't cooperate with him, he's basically useless. He didn't think that he could beat Isagi with that. which is why he suggested Nagi to play more actively, as he proposed Nagi to change his ideal into scoring goals only he can produce, which kinda seemed like a pain to him, which is something his former self would say, as we see passive Nagi in full display here. As he was thinking about all the things that he had to do, he realized that it was a pain, and couldn't believe that Reo and Asagi kept thinking about stuff like this all the time, as creativity is exhausting to him. Agi said something very interesting, though, as he sees two ways a thing can be painful. The first is when he doesn't want to do something but has to, which is called passive pain, and the other is when he has to think of something he wants to do, which he calls active pain. Nagi passed the ball to Agi, as Agi stated that this pain is the thing that will make him grow, as he passed the ball back to Nagi. Nagi proceeded to trap it and juggle it around as Birkenstock was watching, and did something similar to the two-gun volley, which he calls the juggling shot. Yukimiya saved the shot, though, as he asked Nagi if he graduated from thinking that everything is a pain, to which Nagi responded that he was under development. However, in chapter 180, Agi proceeded to tell him that his attack was a 8 out of 100. Nagi didn't understand it, though, so Agi began explaining that his sloppy passes won't cut it, and that it wouldn't have worked if the pass wasn't to him. Nagi said that it was because it was him, though. Agi said that his finishing kick was a fascinating idea, and that if the pass had been a bit cleaner, he could have made the shot a bit sooner. He lost a bunch of points, though, because he acted before he even visualized the play, which is why he told him to think more. In the Neo-Egoist League, he failed with this, but this is an excellent sample to look at for the future. And the way he will achieve that is through using his past and present self to create the future. When he's doing heavy analysis of the field and creating his own plays, he should be using the more laid-back version of himself to actually take everything in and digest it properly. The reason this is important is that you can't think without a clear head. And he can use his present self, which is excited and wants to win, so he can execute on those plays. And then he can mix in a bit of his future self as well, which is someone who continues aiming higher and higher. If you combine his past self, present self, and future self, you create the new and evolved nagiseishiro, which uses everything he learned to his advantage, which will require adaptability, which is a trait that Isagi excels at. If he truly practices all these things, he will form his new unique ego, which will allow him to get a step closer to becoming one of the best players in the world.
But remember that this is just a theory. A blue lock theory! But jokes aside, man, if you enjoyed watching this video, you might also like this one. Peace out.